Welcome back to class. If you remember what coefficients are, they are the number that comes right in front of the letter. If you remember that, that was the easiest way to remember it. So this is a coefficient, it comes right in front of x. And remember, if we get rid of fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal. So we end up with, when we multiply both sides by the reciprocal, we end up with 35/4. And I have some great news. Actually, when we're doing fractions like this with actual algebra, you can leave it as an improper fraction. You're welcome. Okay, so let's hop right into the example. 3 1/3 x. The only thing you have to do is just make it improper first so it can easily multiply. So we change 3 1/3 to 10/3, multiply by the bottom and then add the top. And so when you multiply both sides by 3/10, you end up with, and of course you can cancel out, x equals 3/2, and you don't even have to change it. So that's basically all there is to it. You just have to change everything to improper before you multiply and before you try to get rid of the coefficient. All right, that's example 1. Let me get my paper. Example 2. What kind of joys will it bring? Let's see. 2 1/2 y. Why though? Someone come save me. I've been videoing for a very long time by myself. 2 1/2 y equals 1 7/8. Okay, so I'm just going to change both of these right off the bat. So 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. Ends up being 5/2 y equals 1 times 8 is 8 plus 7 is 15. 15/8. To get rid of the 5/2, we multiply by the reciprocal. Cancels it right out. We multiply also by the reciprocal. And we can do a little bit of finagling here. We can do some canceling. And we end up with 3/4. And y does in fact equal 3/4. And if you multiply by 3/4 up here, you would get everything. Okay, so you can plug it back in if you want to. But if you do the math right, you shouldn't have to. Okay, and then we can leave it as improper. And what did I do wrong? Did I do 3/4 when it should have been 3/2? No, I think it should have been 3/4. I'm looking at the previous problem, and the answer's throwing me off. This is the right problem. Okay, sorry, I was looking at the answer for example 1 and thinking I was wrong. So that's example 2. And of course, I'm going to remind you, pause the video, check it out if you need to before I might be going a little bit fast, but that's because you have the control to pause it and rewatch if you need to. Okay, and then example 3. Now we throw in a negative number. Yikes. We haven't been doing negative numbers with these yet. But do you remember how a negative times a negative equals a positive? So in order to get rid of the negative 2/3, we still multiply by the reciprocal. We multiply by, I'm going to do this because it's easier to see, negative 3/2. Because negative times negative equals positive, so that gets rid of the negative, and it gets rid of the numbers. Okay, so really what you end up with positive 1x, which is exactly what we want. But we also multiply by negative 3/2 over here. Make sure you take the negative with you. Do not forget the negative. We can cancel. And we end up with negative 6/5. And don't forget the negative. I'm going to say it again. Make sure you're not just dropping that negative. Now there's a little explanation before this example, and I'm a little concerned that if you read it, you're going to be like, what is going on? The whole point there is that you're multiplying by a negative times a negative to get a positive, so that you don't want to have negative x here. Okay, and you also multiply by the opposite. Any negative number, if it's negative 5, you could still make it 1/5, the reciprocal. That's what it's saying, but I'm not going to get too deep into it. You don't really have to 100% read that, so just go right to the example. Okay, and we'll go to that last example 4. We have negative 5x equals 0.24. Okay, we know to get rid of negative 5, we just divide by negative 5. Right, that makes it positive 1. And then over here, I really just want you to use a calculator because it's fine. You can do the calculator. But even if you don't, you divide by 5, Sorry. You're going to, you're gonna get like 0.048, and you're gonna end up knowing it's negative because a positive and a negative equal a negative when dividing. Okay, so even if you do it by hand, that's fine too. It's just a matter of, if you use a calculator, I'm fine with that. Just make sure that you understand it's positive and negative, so the answer is negative. And that only works with multiplying and dividing. So don't get those rules confused. Okay, that is it. If you need me, I'm suggesting that you just message me, let me know. This negatives and positive stuff, you gotta get it down. And I know this is not the greatest time to be missing school for a month. So make sure you're getting that positives and negative stuff, all those rules figured out, and that you are following them. Okay, have a great day.